name is David Boone, and I'm speaking to you from Niceville, Florida. I grew up in Orlando, Florida, and I've been alive for the entire history of rock and roll. And I'm here to speak to you about two types of microphones today, the two that are most commonly used in music reproduction, either live or in the studio, and those are the dynamic microphone and the condenser microphone. Microphones in general are specific kinds of electromechanical devices called transducers, or a transducer converting mechanical energy into electrical energy. In the case of a dynamic microphone, a very thin diaphragm of mylar or other material is attached to a hair-thin copper wire, and then the coil is suspended in a magnetic field. And when the vibrations of sound hit the diaphragm, the coil moves up and down and creates a very small electrical current. The electrical signal is attached to a connector on the microphone and generally sent to a preamplifier, which brings it up to line level, so it can be mixed with the other sounds that are also hopefully operating at line level within the mixer. These microphones, the dynamic that is, come in different sizes and shapes. Some of the diaphragms are larger and some of them are smaller. And the size and design of the element plays a big role in how the mic sounds. In general, the larger the diaphragm, the smoother and deeper the sound. The very large diaphragm Electro Voice RE20 is a very highly prized microphone, and it's been used a great deal for vocal reproduction. Probably the most common microphone, though, for live sound vocal production is this one right here. This is an SM58, a very well beat up SM58 that I've been using for a very long time. And you can see all the dents in it. There are stories about this microphone having been used as a hammer to hammer together risers at concerts and then being put up on a stand to be used for vocal reproduction. I don't know how true they are, but that's what I've heard. Anyway, I know that I have thrown this one. I threw it into a plate of mashed potatoes by accident in a train station at a gig, and I dropped it all kinds of ways. Still works great. The other microphone that you're going to see for sure being used a lot is the cousin to this one, the SM57. Very, very often used for miking snare drums in particular, but it's also been used for entire drum sets in many cases. The White House, whenever you see the president speak, you're going to see two SM57s, which really have a very, very straight mouthpiece that's black on this end. I don't have mine out here to show you, but it is iconic in the world of live sound. Both of those microphones. They are very robust. They're very much more difficult to damage, and so when you're in very extreme conditions, these are the microphones you're going to want to go to, the dynamic. Now I'll discuss briefly the condenser microphone, which uses a different type of transducer. They're essentially a kind of elaborate capacitor. In most designs, there's a fixed back plate and a movable front plate. The plates are fixed at a specific distance apart, and an electrical charge is applied. That electrical charge usually comes from batteries, can be a power supply. Well, I said usually from batteries, that's not quite true. It's usually from a phantom power supply of some sort, but it can be batteries. As the sound hits the movable plate, there are tiny changes in the capacitance, which is turned into an electrical signal. And the signal is very, very small, and that's why we need to have power to it. And then, like the dynamics, most likely going to go to some sort of a preamp to bring it up to line level. These microphones, generally speaking, have a wider dynamic range and a wider also frequency response than most dynamics. They are also available in a lot of different sizes. Most of the time they're side address, whereas the dynamics are front on address. Like I said, they tend to be extremely sensitive, and so they are used in applications where you most often where you want to get a really, really good recording. I have one right here. This is an Audio-Technica AT4033. It's my favorite microphone because I'm not a millionaire and I can't afford the Neumann U87, which I'd really love to have, but this is cost me under $400, and it was used by Alan Parsons in some of his work on Dark Side of the Moon. At least I'm told that that's the case. I haven't talked to Alan recently, but I've heard they use that, and maybe for some of the Beatles things that he produced in the studio for them. So it's a very good microphone. There are some other less expensive microphones that are also condensers if you can't afford even the 400 range. There's some down in even 80, 90, $100. And of course, as the price goes up, generally speaking, you're getting a little bit better microphone for your money. There's another type of condenser microphone called an electret um, condenser, and it does not require any sort of phantom power or battery because it has an element which was charged and remains charged. It was charged during manufacture, so it has energy of its own that it's working with. So my purpose in this really is to give you an outline of some very good microphones for not too much money. The Shure SM58, about $100. The SM57, about $100. Then you get up to the Audio Technica range here, under $400. And on eBay, sometimes you can get them for even better than that. I think that those are very good recommendations for anybody who's trying to put together their own studio. I thank you very much for listening to this. I can't go on because I think I'm already over time. I could talk about microphones probably most of the day because they are our ears in the studio and on the stage. I thank you very much for listening to my presentation. I hope that this helped you in some way, and see you next week if I have another video to do. Thank you very much.